Okay, you see these guys? This is Mark. This is Will. You've heard about Will. We're not letting Will talk, and we've talked about that too. And there's a reason for that. But anyways, these guys work for me. Now I'm going to tell you something. Now just context. Will knows a lot more than me on a lot of things. Mark's an electrician. Mark knows a lot more than me on electrician. No question about it. He's got much more experience, much more education, and he's the expert. Let him come in. Will, sanding, mudding, framing, you know what? He tells me a lot. But here's the thing. I'm the boss. At the end of the day, they know that they have to do what I tell them to do. Why? Because I pay them. And I'm the one that's in charge. Now, we're talking about holiness and going through 1 Peter chapter 1. And one of the things that we've talked about is holiness is knowing who God has made us to be, what He has called us to do. Those guys know what they're called to do, but there's a difference. They're not the boss. Holiness is recognizing that we are under the authority of God. Holiness is not just recognizing who we are and what we've created to do, what we have been created to do. But a big part of that is recognizing that we come under an authority. We come under the authority of God, and He is like our boss. Now, here's the thing. Just like when they do their job well, they get paid. When they do their job, I pay them. It's part of the deal. Part of the deal with God is if we live in obedience to Him, God says, I will reward you. And He rewards us in a couple of ways. One of the ways He rewards us by living out a holy life is that we begin to live and experience the joy of our salvation. We have the blessing of God. We have the peace of God. We have recognize the love of God, because when we are living in our purpose and we are living in the way God has created us to be out of obedience, God says, see, now you're beginning to understand the best life that I have for you. When we don't recognize that we're under God's authority, a lot of times we're going to do what we're created to do anyway because we have the natural inclination to do it. But we're not going to receive what it is that God has for us because our perspective is off. Our perspective is we're doing it for us, and we will never get the blessing of obedience if we're living under our own authority. But when we live under the authority of God, when we walk in step with the Holy Spirit, when we walk in step with the authority of God in our lives, what we begin to realize is that we now have an understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. God shows us that He loves us. God begins to show us how the fruits of the Spirit grow in our life and what the benefit of that is. We look at our life from a perspective of future and hope. And those are all those things that God has for us. Those come out of living in obedience. And that's a huge part of holiness. All right, hope that's been an encouragement to you. I got to go make sure these guys are working. God bless you.